Ended off with a chiddush, perhaps about snacks. I did confirm that there are poskim, and due to people's emotional baggage, we won't quote names and faces. But there are poskim that would like to learn like the way we ended off the shir. But it's a chiddush. It's a chiddush that Pashas is keneged the bir halacha. Let's just we're going to repeat it. We're going to repeat it to keep everyone up to speed, and just to make sure it's clear. It's clear. Again, and it's the more I'm thinking about it, it's very common. It's very common. You work out, you walk, you run, you anything. It's very common. You play golf. Okay, so the case that we discussed was shir equal when you lose your bracha. When the bracha ends, we knew this to be called pashta 72 minutes when it comes to hamaitzi foods. But we discussed when it comes to shahakals, liquids more particularly, as soon as you are thirsty, you lose your bracha. The question is, do you lose your bracha rishona or do you lose your bracha achrayna? The pashtus is you lose your bracha achrayna, which means, again, that if I have a cup of whatever I'm drinking right now, and I wait 45 minutes, and I'm thirsty, I'm not allowed to make a bracha achrayna. I can't make a bayre nefashis. If I want to take another drink, what do I do? The pashtus is, what's the pashtus? Nothing. You continue drinking. Almost fell. You continue drinking. Now, if you know, often you don't know you're going to get involved in this situation. And therefore, it doesn't always happen. What do I mean? What I mean is we're sitting here. You're sitting in a base mattress, you're sitting in an office, you're sitting at your home. You have a cup of coffee. So you finish a cup of coffee. What's your das when you finish it? You don't have das. But what's your das? Your das is you're going to drink more. When are you going to drink more? You often don't necessarily have a time. So if you stop, and avad the lechatchila, as we quoted from the Bir Halacha, and I want to read you the words inside to make sure we have it clear. But avada, if you know that you're going to get involved in a situation, you should make a bracha achrayna. Like we said many times, it's not called a bracha shenei tzricha. If you drink the quantity, you finished, you make the bracha achrayna. But if you don't know, which is often the case, and then it ends up being 40 minutes and you take another drink, you didn't do anything wrong. You missed out a mile of a lechatchila of a bracha achrayna. But what do you do right now? Nothing. Your bracha rishayna continues with you. In the case of sports, it's a very common case that you know you're going to get involved in this issue. You drank, you're satiated, you're quenched, whatever the word, quenched, that's the right word, yeah, and you know you're going to get thirsty again. So in that case, based on the way that we're learning over here, the halacha is you're going to lose your bracha achrayna, so you should make a bayri nefashos. Again, I'll read you from the Sefer Sha'ar Bracha. Sefer Sha'ar Bracha is one of the most common svarim. It's Heintik Sefer was put out Tavshin Ayin Daled about 10 years ago. Many psakim from Rav Yashivin here. He says classically, Hasheisem mashkav loibirach la bracha achrayna yachal levarik kol zman she'enoi tzeimei shuv. If you're not thirsty again. But if you're already thirsty, you're not allowed to make a bracha achrayna anymore. So if you know you're going to get involved in that situation, what do? You should make a bracha achrayna. I did confirm the Arkadei Paiskim that say that we're allowed to view sports as one block of time, and even though you know you're going to get thirsty again, you do not have to make the bracha achrayna, and so extreme, but it'll even allow you to make a bracha rishayna each time. How that works, I can't say I fully understand. Someone tried to explain to me that maybe it's totally in the lumdus, that if you know you're going to lose it, that means it's called as chadas, and that means you're allowed to make a new bracha rishayna. Why you didn't have to make your bracha achrayna? Maybe because it's all considered one sitting. But that is, so again, so what's the pashtus? The pashtus is, if you know about it, which often you know, right? You're going running. So before you go, you tank up, you make your bracha rishayna. What do? You make a bracha achrayna. If you're going to continuously drink the whole time, then avada, you don't have to make your bracha achrayna, because then you're not going to wait till you're thirsty again. You're going to continuously drink. If you're running, if you're biking, you're continuously drinking. So in those cases, often you're never going to become thirsty. because you're going to preempt it, and therefore you wouldn't make a bracha achrayna, you wouldn't make a bracha rishayna, you'd be good to go. You're playing sports, that's going to be a very classical case. You're not drinking while you play. Usually there's no usually, everyone does their thing, but you're going to play, you're going to drink, you're going to then play, and then you're going to drink again. So there, l'chayr lefi the Mishnah Berurah, what you should do is make a bracha achrayna, and then make a new bracha rishayna. That's I just wanted to clarify, as it is a very common case. If you're in a situation, an office, your house, learning, whatever it is, what do? You make your bracha rishayna. The best is, as we said, you have das, and the bracha goes. How long does the bracha go? The pashtus is that but the shir equal goes from the last drink you took. So if you're sipping, it's going to extend. It's going to extend your shir equal. Now, this is discussed very heavily. If you want to know, one of the big marmakaimis is that Leil Seder. Because what do? You make Kiddush. Do you make an alay gefen on your Kiddush? No. When do you make an alay gefen on your Kiddush? When do you make alay gefen on your Kiddush? Very, very late. Very, very late. So what's going on? Now, you make another Bayer Pei Gafen, the mitzvah of Daled Kaisis, on the mitzvah of Daled Kaisis. But it's a complicated to the extent, there are some Gedolei Paiskim, I believe, they quote Rav Shlomo Zalman, that he says the lechatchila is to sip water throughout the Seder. And this is, now you sort of understand a little bit more what's going on over there. The reason is you don't want to lose your bracha. If you eat and you stop eating for a significant amount of time, it's called shir equal. What? That's al the mitzvah you're making a bracha rishayna. That's a sugya in itself. Why are you making a new bracha rishayna? But yeah, ein achanami. That's Pesach Reish Tam. If you want to know, when it comes to Pesach, this is one of the very discussed topics. Now you'll have a little more of a background. Now one more halacha which we touched upon, but it's really to understand the severity of the shayla and not to get involved in the shayla. We said when you have a shinui makom, what happens? You lose your bracha. What type of bracha do you lose? You lose your shahakal, you don't lose your mezainis. What if you do the two together? It is a suffix. Meaning, if you're having cake and a coffee, and you walk outside, let's call it not for a moment, you walk outside for 15 minutes, you schmooze with a friend, you come back inside, what do you do now is a big problem. Your mezainis, you're fine, you continue eating. What about your shahakal? What do you do? Are you allowed? So we said the svara, and the svara is that you didn't lose your bracha. Why did you not lose your bracha? Because it piggybacks. It's the piggybacking svara. Is that it piggybacks on your mezainis? It piggybacks on your mezainis. This is a machlekes. I'll just tell you how, you want to know, how does the art school book here paskin? What do you do, right? So he says that the fact that you return to your place for the bracha and the cake may render the coffee a continuation. This question has not been sufficiently clarified by the poskim. One should therefore avoid such a situation. And then he quotes at the bottom that there is a graz. What's the better svar? Why? No, but klape the bracha achrayna, because the whole svar of bracha achrayna is that when you walk outside, it severs. It's a hesach hadas. Question is, how can you have a hesach hadas if it's not a hesach hadas? What I'm in the middle of doing right now I was not mesiach das. Ve'haraya, I'm coming back from my mezainis. Correct. That's the bashis. Again. That's the bashis. It comes from yayin. Comes from Shulchan Aruch Harav. The Graz says that all foods covered by Birkas HaMazayin are included in this rule. There's a Kseisa Shulchan that's misupik how to learn this Graz, and that's why he over here ends off. It's a suffix. So what do you do? Let's end with that. What do you do in the world of brachas when you have a suffix? No. Okay, well, you can make a bracha achrayna, correct. But wait, do you drink? Are you allowed to drink? You want to drink more. So you're allowed to. What should you do? You should pater the bracha, right? I have a suffix. Let's say I'm sitting here. Let's say I'm sitting here, and I'm not sure if I made a bracha on this. So what do I do? You pater it. You make a problem is how do you pater it? Because when we're in this world that we're in our house, that everything is in our das, what do? So the one eitzah is to make a shinu makom. But over here, you can't make a shinu makom. Because that's how you got into this mess in the first place. Because you have your cake that you're still in the middle of eating. So you could finish your cake, make it ala mechia, then make a shini makom. It's getting a little crazy. What else can you do? Is that what? What do we want to tell you now? No, that correct. No. 100%. That was his case. He said a story with Rav Shmuel. And his Rebbetzin didn't know if she made a bracha rishayna. And what did Rav Shmuel paskin? Eat now, ask later. And what was that? That was a psak. Psak was when you have a suffix on a bracha rishayna, you're allowed to keep it eating. So you're allowed to keep eating. I'm asking, is there a way, a maila? So that's one way we do. Very good. Drink grape juice. Grape juice patches other shackles. Other way would be have someone else make a bracha. That's usually the easiest one. Find someone who didn't make a shackle. Ask them to make a shackle b'yotziu. And we'll end that there are some who want to taina that there's always one food in your house that wasn't included in your bracha rishayna. Salt. Why wasn't salt included in your bracha rishayna? Because no normal person goes and eats salt. To the extent, if you go and eat salt, do you make a bracha on it? So granted, it's a machlokes. But Rav Chaim Paskins, yes. Chaim Kanievsky, in text, seemingly says that if you take a little salt, you're allowed to make a shahakol, and you can lick up the salt. I think in the world, I'm going to go into the nostalgic world of pretzels right now, and especially those hot pretzels. We all know when you finish, what do? You eat the salt from the bottom. So, chayra makes sense to say that our salt is a meichel.
The same guy who used to ketchup on the bowl.
Same guy. Yeah, okay. But that would be an eitzah. Some place can want to give that as an eitzah. The psak halacha, let's just get clear. The psak halacha is number one when you're playing sports. It seems the best would be to make the bracha achrayna and anaya bracha rishayna. When it comes to the cake and coffee shayla, when you make a shini makayim, your cake you can continue. Your coffee is a shayla. If you have nothing to do, you're allowed safik brachas hakol on a bracha rishayna. You're allowed to continue drinking your coffee. There would be a maila. If you're not home, then there's a maila. You could just go get another shackle. It's very easy because it wasn't in your das. Has someone else be to you, and maybe some would taina to have some salt.